Jacques, maybe let's start with the choice of Kurt Lee at wing. Last couple of tests when Damon's been back, he also had Jesse as an option there as a wing. What decided in Kurt Lee's favour?
Yeah, we just thought that Kurt Lee performed well in that second test against Wales, and there's a lot of similarities. If you look at his game versus Cheslin's game, so we think we get a like-for-like player there. And like I said, probably a rewarding performance. I thought he really played well on wing.
Maybe you should also, good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon. Just your thoughts on Malcolm Mars reaching that milestone. Is it about him reaching that milestone, or do you think he's better suited for this particular match this coming weekend?
No, we always want to, Percy, we always want to make it special for players if they play, if it's possible. It's not always possible. If it's possible, we want to always, if a guy plays a milestone test match, it's nice to start him. Not to say that we won't rotate like we've done in the past, where we would start Kitsy and put Trevor on the bench or vice versa. So, but in this specific game, it's always nice if a guy achieves a milestone game and you can start him off the bench. But it suits him to start, play off the bench. Like I said in the past, especially our front rows, if you look at the front rows that we have selected, they work as a unit together, and they've got specific roles that they have to fulfill, and we're comfortable that Malcolm will fulfill the role as a starter and Bongi will fulfill it when he comes off the bench.
And the man next to you, you were reasoning on bringing the experience of the
No, I think if you look at Faf, I mean, he's been with us for a while, very experienced, and we've won big games with him in the past, World Cup and British and Irish Lions series, and it's nice to have him back in the mix. I think we will need him. We always in this particular game, and his skill set. That's the reason why we decided to go with him.
Jock, sorry. Jock, it's interesting how looking at the past series, the July series. What lessons did you take from what Ireland did that you can kind of copy and paste for this game?
Yes, no, I don't think I'm going to go too much in what we took out of those games. I think obviously Ireland is a quality side. I think, and that's the one thing they pitched with intensity, and the execution was quite good in the plan that they had. So I think that's the thing. We're not Ireland. We're not Leinster. We don't play like them. But the main thing that we took out of that, whatever plan you decide to tackle the All Blacks with, you will have to bring intensity and you'll have to bring accuracy within that plan.
It's interesting that you say you guys play differently, but if you look at the last game, Ireland scored twice with rolling mauls, if I remember correctly. So, you must be encouraged that is a success, that seemed to, because that is really your bread and butter.
Yeah, I think I think they will be different. Obviously, when you play a game and there's a weakness in your game, you fix that. So I'm sure they will be working very hard on it.
Jacques, you've pretty much stacked forwards with line-out specialists. Have you pretty much identified that one of the weaknesses of the All Blacks, that especially in the third test, was the line-out and how Ty Ben in particular exposed that?
Yeah, I think, it comes down with the plan that they have. We know Peter Manny is very good contester player. Coached him at Munster. It's one of his strengths in the front of the line out. And I thought, they used him well. But they had a specific plan with New Zealand, and they put New Zealand under pressure because they were accurate in that. You can say, but again, like I say, I think it's something. Whenever we have an issue in our game, we try and fix it immediately. So I'm sure they would have worked on that.
Jacques, there's been a lot of talk, obviously, about the forwards and the line out, the ball. Everyone's talking about the ball. So how important is it to find other ways of unlocking their defence? Because obviously, as you said, it worked on this.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You must have balance, and I think Ireland had balance. They scored with maul tries, but they also had other means of attacking New Zealand from line out. So I think, that's the main thing. Line out to maul will always be a big part of the game, and it's an exciting part of the game because there's a lot of technical and tactical decisions you have to make as a defensive side in terms of how you're going to control that, and then that might open up space somewhere else. Which then you can attack if you then so want to.
Just saying that, I mean, you obviously you talked about a lot of things you needed to fix in your own game. That Welsh series, accuracy being one of them. New Zealand obviously very good on turnover ball. You guys did drop quite a few balls and weren't punished in the Welsh series for those. It could be different if you make the same mistakes.
Yeah, that's probably latch on to the question that was asked earlier. What do you learn out of Ireland is the accuracy and the intensity that they brought to those test matches. New Zealand is a formidable side. You don't beat them often, anybody for that sake. And one of their big strengths is their transition attack. We will have to be accurate in terms of what we do.
Jock, how big will be the conversion of opportunities in this particular set of matches starting on Saturday? Because again, you look at the first and the third test against Wales, where the Boks spent a lot of time in Wales' 22, but didn't kind of get the rewards that they looked for. Whereas Wales, for example, will get into the 22 first up and score. So how much effort has been put into addressing that conversion of opportunities?
Yeah, no, listen, when you play a quality side like New Zealand, especially in the test matches between South Africa and New Zealand, I mean, you're lucky if you get two opportunities, and you must use those two opportunities. So that's definitely something that we spoke about.
Jock, I mean, there's also in this one, one kind of always feels for the coaches that are under pressure. I mean, Ian Foster is a guy under a lot of pressure. I mean, how do you feel about that whole dynamic? Is it, in a way, do you have a kind of empathy or sympathy there, or just in that scenario? Because I guess the saying always goes, there's only two types of coaches, ones that have been fired and ones that will be fired. So there's that whole dynamic coming into it as well.
I think yes. Listen, I think if I in any way comment on what's happening in their camp and how he feels, that will be purely speculation, because I don't know what their deal is and how they operate between him and the CEO and stuff like that. So but yes, I think as coaches and as players, we know that representing your country in rugby, especially in countries that have a rich rugby tradition like South Africa and New Zealand, there's always going to be pressure if you're a coach or a player, and you are two poor games away from being dropped or two poor games away from being fired, I think, and that's the reality, and one lives with that.
When it comes to this match, and you will correct me if I'm wrong, the language after both games is very diplomatic, very carefully, very sensitive. Is it a case of teams, coaches, players respecting each other, or because I can argue that your supporters are of the opinion that you guys should hit the dog while it's down?
I think that the key thing for us, I think in both games, a lot of respect. And I think in both games, just sticking with what is reality. There's a lot of the moment we start giving out to what's happening in each other's camps, it's purely speculation. And we know it's going to be a tough test match. It's New Zealand. It's not a team that you beat often. So it will be a hard-fought test match, and that's the reality. So no, it's not trying to evade questions, just staying with the reality, and that is the reality, Percy.
Ralph, can I just ask, how are you feeling about your season, about being back in the team, in a bit of competition? Where are you at?
No, good. Feeling positive, feeling great. Privileged to be back in the starting lineup. Season's gone on for a long time, since I don't know when I started, February or whatever. So I think I've been growing ever since, and being back with the squad now, this off week I think which we had, we really grew as a group and got tighter and got connected. And I obviously there's a few new players around that you need to get the hang of. But I'm just happy to be back here, but happy to be in Nelspruit and really looking forward to this weekend.
But it's part of the interesting part of the Springbok mentality is that as soon as people write you guys off and people think, you guys are really seriously wounded, then you come up with a massive performance. Now, in this game against the All Blacks, it's kind of, nobody knows kind of who's the favourite or whatever. How's the mental side of things? Is there that kind of same motivation that you can dig into for this game?
Yeah, I think the motivation is even more. We've been in similar situations in the past, and we know how it feels to lose 2 games on the bounce, and I think that's when a great team stands up and wants to play. We're going to focus on ourselves and make sure all our stuff is ready to go on this for the weekend. I think we've put in the work, and we will continue to put in the work this week. But playing against New Zealand or South Africa, there's nothing more that you need when you run onto that field. So whatever situation it may be, it's going to be probably your biggest game of the year, and you're going to have to pitch up.
And you guys, you've won so many honours, and now there's a series in South Africa. So is that a talking point, the series, that this is a feather that you would like in the cap, or is it more kind of just a game-by-game kind of thing?
Yeah, I just don't think we ever really want to lose. So, if we go unbeaten, that's probably the goal. That's what we always want to do is we don't want to let our country down, we don't want to let our teammates down. So we're definitely taking it week by week. We're not going to say from the start we're going to win 2 games on the bounce. That's our goal. We want to get through this one first, and then focus on fixes or improvements or whatever it may be.
I can't remember what your record is at the stadium. I know 3 matches we played here, so about 3 Test matches. Are you guys hoping to maintain whatever the record is here? What is your experience? I know you mentioned last week you haven't been here with the Springboks yet. What is your experience? What have you done, learned so far the past couple of weeks, and a half so far? About the week?
Me?
You, coach.
I've got no clue, to be honest. I think that's probably the thing. It's history. I don't know. But what we've learned, listen, yes, I really enjoyed the 2 weeks that we were here. The people are unbelievably friendly, and they bent over backwards to accommodate us and to help us in any which way they could. And we had an awesome time. Like Faf said, we had a great camp last week. The prep up to today, it's only 1.5 days gone, but the prep's been good so far.
Faf, this is where your rugby really started. And now straight you've come almost a full circle. I'm sure you've still got a lot more to go, but just as Currie Cup champion territory as well. What do you think this game will mean to the people of Nelspruit and the support you guys can expect here?
No, it's going to be massive. We pitched up for a signing session on 8:30 on Saturday morning, and there was a queue of I don't even know how many people, but then you just saw what it means to them. And obviously, with the Pumas doing so well, I think there's a great rugby vibe going on at the moment. And I think there's people struggling to find anywhere to stay for the test match. So it means there's a lot on this game, and people are really backing us to from Nelspruit's side, and I think there's people travelling from far to come down and watch. The support's it's amazing.
One of the things a lot of people are talking about from the Ireland series was how well Ireland played, but a lot less on how they defended, which was one of the key reasons they won the series, because they planted New Zealand at 9 and 10. What do you guys take from Ireland's stony defense?
That's it. We'll have come up with our own plans, and we have focus on certain areas where we can target them. But it shows the one thing you need to man up physically against them, and I don't think there's a lot of our guys that shy away from the physicality battle. So we start with that. But like I said, we'll come up with our own plans. We're not going to try and copy something that's not inbred in us. So we got some plans.
Jacques, do you guys derive any inspiration from the efforts of the Blitzboks over the weekend in the Commonwealth, and with the big 2 months for you guys in the Rugby Championships and the Blitzboks with the World Cup Sevens in September? Do you think you can sort of ride each other's momentum over the next couple of months?
Yes, yeah. Listen, I said to Rassie this morning. I think the rugby department's one area that's actually, or is one area in which in SA Rugby is currently smiling. You know, if you think the Blitzboks winning Commonwealth or gold medal, and if you even think the women's 15, you know, the first time ever they've won abroad, and to beat, I think Japan has been on the trot for about 10 games. You know, so to go and beat them in Japan is a massive shift from the women's, and even the women's sevens, you know, quite depleted. They did one spot better, I would say, that they did last time in Commonwealth, and a lot of the girls are playing for the 15s, you know. So I think the women's rugby is building nicely within SA Rugby. It's a big focus point, and we try from our side, the Springboks, to invest as much as we can if we have time available. And then obviously, yeah, I thought the junior box also did well. So I think, and yeah, I didn't see the SA Schools game. It was before the test match that we played in Cape Town, but where the two SA Schools sides played against each other. But I think all in all, there's a lot of pressure on us because the other teams are performing, so that puts nice pressure on us. But it's nice to see that things are working and turning nicely in the rugby department.
And Faf, over the years you've had a good little rivalry with Aaron Smith. Looking forward to coming up against him again and kicking that off again this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. We've become friends off the field, but obviously we both know once we get on the pitch, it's back to business. And yeah, he's one of their key players. He's over 100 tests, which makes him unbelievably successful in what he's been doing over there. So yeah, it's a lot to learn from him, but yeah, it's always good to play against one of the best guys in the world.
Well, you lost your place for the third test against Wales. Jaden's come in. Are you feeling a bit of pressure there, with a bit more rivalry now with Jaden there breathing down in there?
I think there's always been that pressure from all the other nines. We're 5 guys in the camp now again, and I think from what I personally, Jock and them can pick anyone on the day to start, and I don't think we all play a similar game, but they will do the job that's needed. So I think there's always that pressure, and if you, like you said, if you slip up once, maybe get another chance. If you do it again, then you're gone there because the next guy's ready to go. And I think that's so good. And if you look at our entire squad, it's pretty much the same thing. If you experienced or a youngster coming through, doesn't really matter. You need to show it on the field. So I quite enjoy big games and pressure. I think that's where most of our guys play really well. So it's good to have that feeling. So you know you need to perform.
I know that you guys haven't played New Zealand and the New Zealand players in Super Rugby. So for the past 2 years, do you feel that some of the new players are a bit of an unknown quantity?
Yeah, for sure. We try and do our homework on a lot of, basically all the players, and to make sure we get a sense of what their weaknesses and strengths are. But yeah, it is a bit unknown. But yeah, that's just up to us and to the coaches to make sure we know our detail on every single player that's not very well known. But yeah, we've done our stuff on them already, and I think we're just going to go in deeper as the week goes on.
Both you and Malcolm have done great things together. So going back years now, so sharing a milestone with him, I can just say what you appreciated most of him and just how you feel about the whole thing.
Yeah, I started playing with Malcolm he was still a boy actually at the Lions, coming through, and always been his ability, these ball carries and his strength over the ball was always there, but not always the most accurate thrower when he started off, and then worked so unbelievably hard on it. So can't remember when he's missed a line out. So his work rate is immense. His off the field stuff is immense. His professionalism is great. Great guy. Everybody loves him. And yeah, he's big teddy bear. But once he puts a Springbok jersey on, he becomes an animal. So I'm really proud of him. I'm not so happy that he overtook me with the caps, but it's great for him, and I think he's going to play a lot more tests for the Springboks.
Faf, you played a lot of rugby many years ago. A lot of sweat on the training A field, and then moving to the Lions, going over to Sale, an amazing journey, going to Japan recently, coming back as a Lowfelder to represent your country in the stadium in front of the people of the Lowveld. What does it mean to you personally?
No, it's kind of nice to. I think we last played here in 2016. Yeah, you sort of reminisce on everything you went through, and me and Vince had a bit of a laugh with other guys saying, yeah, they don't know what it's like to go through this route and the stuff we had to do with Jimmy back in the day, and just had a bit of a giggle and just reminiscing on the sort of battle that you had to travel to get to this place. And I think Jock mentions it a lot. There's a lot of guys in this group that really had to fight to get here. You were written off as a youngster. You weren't supposed to be here. So I think we lean on that a lot, and we take a lot of energy into the game because of that. We want to use that in everything we do.
Jacques, I just want to check just on a technical point. Curtis is back with the squad now. He's passed his medical. He's fine. Is he up for selection in the next couple of weeks?
I think he's only returned to training now, so but not squad training yet. So he's slowly getting introduced back into rugby, but not contact yet. So he will go through level 1 contact introduction, then level 2, then level 3 on a more technical note. So he still has to go through that. So he's cleared surgically. They're happy with how the surgery went and how the healing took place. But now it's just to introduce him back into rugby and into contact, particularly. Yeah.
Do you expect him to still play a role somewhere in the rugby championship, or is this more looking further ahead than that?
No, listen. I think the earliest, let's say everything goes 100% according to plan, and in terms of returning him back into contact, and he passes every marker. I think the first time that he will be technically up for selection will probably be against Australia. I'm not sure the first or the second game, but it will be one of those 2 games that technically, if there's not a hiccup, or if he doesn't struggle with something, then from a medical point of view. From a rugby point of view, I think yes, he's done a lot of fitness, and then obviously if you haven't played for a while, it takes some time, especially 9s and 10s. I mean, when Ella came back, you kind of expect something like that, especially your decision makers, your 9s and 10s, if they haven't played rugby for a while, it takes you 2 to 3 games to get back into it. So it will probably be the same with him.
Jacques, the conversation has always been about the All Blacks being desperate after their loss against Ireland. How do you as a Bok management deal with the All Blacks not being in a favourable position, whereas generally the boot has always been in the other foot?
Yeah, the same way which I answered Percy with. I mean, just staying reality. We got no control to spend energy and to think how they're feeling and how desperate would they be and what would they change. I mean, we've got no control over that. So the moment you start putting energy into that, you're wasting it. So we can only control what we can control, and we must make sure that they're not more desperate than us on the day. But that we can control. But we can't control the way they tackle the game and what they want to do with our maul and our style of play. We kind of stay in the reality side of things, which is the things we can control. So, yeah. I'm sure they will be desperate, just like we will be. They're always desperate. I mean, when 2 great rugby sides play each other, I think there's big desperation, and the special clash. There's always desperation, always on both sides.
Let's do another English question and then switch to Afrikaans, guys.
You kan sommer.
Julle kan Engels vra? Last one.
The last one was maybe you can answer this. There's always a lot of talk about playing at the half veld versus sea level. Which is the low veld fit in terms of coping?
It's definitely not Highveld. It's not as bad, but it's not the same as playing in Durban or Cape Town. So it's pretty much in the middle there. But obviously, we all know it's very humid. The ball does get a lot slippery and things like that we need to control. But yeah, we've been here now so it'll be our second week, and we've been training at altitude, so this would actually probably give us a bit of a boost going onto the pitch. But yeah, just again, that's not things we can really control. If the ball's slippery on the day, it's slippery and we need to adjust to that. But other than that, it's just making sure we prepared well and yeah, just to go out there and make the people proud.
Voor mijn vraag van net maar ik moet maar eerlijk zeggen, je is toch 3-0 hier in Bombela Stadion en je hoop om hier nou 4-0 te maken.
Ja, dus ek weet nie wat sê, ek is nie so groot in die history nie. So ek het nie idee of ons 3-0 is nie. So ek gaan, as jy sê ons is, dan okay, so ons is 3-0. Ja, ja, ek dink nie vir my persoonlik, ek weet nie, miskien vir ander mense is dit, maar ek kyk nie noodwendig terug oor wat het die bokke hier gedoen of wat nie, want dit is nie iets waarin ons betrokke, ek weet, Faf was betrokke in een dalk, maar ek was nie betrokke in enige van die toetsen nie, so dit het nie eintlik, ek het nie eintlik 'n reference point om na terug te verval nie. Ou wil maar elke toets wen, of dit nou hierso is, en of dit of ons om in George speel, en of ou om op Ellis Park speel, jy wil elke toets wen, so ek dink nie die plek noodwendig vir my persoonlik maak groot verskil nie.
So voor ons net kort om terug te gaan na die begin toe, jy dink jy sê ek vra altyd die vraag oor die 3 veranderinge wat jy gemaak het, en spesiaal veral oor welke match wat nou hierdie middelpunt bereik hier naby. En die tweede ding om my vraag uit, sal ek sê vir my, jy gepraat van die respek wat jy het vir die opponente hierdie naweek, julle kom nie, as kampioene kom nie hier net om 'n stadion vol te maak om mense te entertain, julle kom om 'n toetswedstryd te wen hier.
Ja, oor die verandering wat ons gemaak het, ja, Malcolm speel sy 50ste en ons probeer altyd as dit moontlik is, en daar's min te kies en te skeer tussen wie begin en wie's op die bank, dan probeer ons altyd om 'n spesiale geleentheid soos 'n 50 te toets, iemand te laat begin, die speler te laat begin. Maar soos ek sê, dis nie altyd, dis nie 'n protokol of niks nie, en dis nie iets wat ons in ons koppe het om te probeer doen nie, maar as die geleentheid om voordoen en ons het gedink aan miskien 'n rotasie soos wat ons gedink het is, en Bongie het nou 2 begin vir ons, en Malcolm het 3 van die bank af gespeel vir ons, so as dit dan net so uitwerk dat dit sy 50ste is soos wat dit nou is, dan het ons besluit om vir Malcolm te begin. Dan die ander manne, ja, Kurtley Arendse, ek dink Kurtley se insluiting, ek dink hy verdien dit, hy het 'n baie goeie debut toets gehad teen Wallis, en ek dink as 'n mens kyk na sy tipe spelpyl en hoe hy speel, is dit baie dieselfde soos Cheslin, en snaaks genoeg al 2 kom deur die sewe's pathway, as ek dit so kan sê. En dan Salman is op die bank in die plek van Elrie Gelou, en dan die ander help my, daar's 4 veranderinge, die ander Faf is Faf begin met Jaden op die bank, en die ding daarvoor is ek dink in hierdie wet ek dink Faf het al groot wedstryde vir ons gespeel as 'n kwaliteitsspeler, wêreldbeker vir ons gewen, ons gehelp om die Britse en Ierse leeu's te wen, Rugby Championship al vir ons gewen, so ek dink ons gaan daai ervaring in druksituasies gaan ons nodig hê van Faf, en ek dink ook hierdie is die tipe wedstryd wat sy tipe vaardighede wat hy na die spel toe bring, gaan nodig hê, so ja, dis hoekom Faf begin.
Ek so vra oor die opponente, en net kort in jou antwoord, wat se lesse het julle uit Ierland se reeks geleer in
ja, die oor ons opponente, ja, dit is altyd 'n unieke wedstryd teen Nieu-Seeland, of nie uniek nie, maar dis altyd een van daai wedstryde waarna jy uitsien, want daar's 'n ryk tradisie tussen die 2 lande in terme van rugby, en teen mekaar kompeteer. Lesse wat ons geleer het uit Ierland uit, ek dink wat Ierland goed gedoen het, hulle het nogal met intensiteit gespeel, en hulle was ook baie akkuraat in dit wat hulle gedoen het, en ek dink dis die 2 goed wat ons uit hulle wedstryde uitgeneem het.
Dit was nogal wel gedruk op jou van hy sê jy het al soveel reeks, soveel kompetisies, wêreldbekers gewen al, en hulle bring hierdie nou terug in 'n All Black span. Wat is jou verwagtinge en wat dink jy wat verwag van jou in jou span wat hierdie naweek op die Nienaber span?
Ja, daar word ons het duidelik ons planne en ons werk hard aan ons strukture reg te kry en ja, ek moet doen wat die span van my verwag word. As dit is om die game vinnig te maak, sal ek dit vinnig maak. As dit is om die game stadig te maak, sal ek dit stadig maak. As moet skop met hardloop, dit is wat ons moet beheer en ek dink wat ek persoonlik wil doen is om net akkuraat te wees met alles wat ek doen en dan die ander manne hopelik goed te laat lyk. So ja, ek dink ons weet wat van ons verwag word van die afrigters af en dan net uit 'n spelersoogpunt uit is net as jy afstap van die veld af, wil jy weet dat jou spanmaats trots is op jou, maak saak wat jy gedoen het, dat jy net met alles gedoen het wat jy het.
Ook nu die vraag af jou gevra het. Nieu-Seeland is 'n span met 'n rig in die muur toe oomblik. Is dit 'n situasie wat Faf en die res van die span kan uitbuit kies nie nou?
Ja, ek dink Jacques het vroeër gesê, as ons gesukkel het in die naweek met 'n spesifieke aspek van ons wedstryd, dan probeer ons dit in daai week regmaak en gewoonlik kry ons dit reg en daar's so ervare spelers daar sodat ek dink hulle gaan dit doen. So ek dink ons gaan baie meer fokus op ons goed en om ons goed reg te doen. Wat ook al dit is, waar die aspekte waar ons dalk nie so gekry was teen Wallisie om te improve op dit, maar ja, ek dink dit maak hulle meer gevaarlik as ek dit so kan stel en ons verwag niks minder as 'n great span wat gaan opdaag Saterdag.
Anyone else with Afrikaans questions?
Jock, met die mental game, dink jy ons is op 'n sterker plek mentally teenoor waar die All Blacks nou is en hoeveel tyd spandeer julle agter die skerms om te werk aan die mental kant?
Ja, dit weer eens, het gaan vir my moeilik wees om ek weet nie waar hulle mentally is nie, om eerlik te wees. Ek sal spekuleer, jy weet, en ek dink is my plek om te sê waar hulle mentally is nie, so ek weet nie. Wat ek vir jou kan sê, ons was al in soortgelyke situasies en ja, waar ons mentally is, ja, ons het so half 'n reality check gehad na die Wallis toets waar ons gesê het en dis waar ons so half ons fokus is intern. Yes, dis die All Blacks en yes, is 'n groot game en alles, maar so half, ons het so half goedjies wat ons moet regkry, jy weet, en ons het doelwitte vir onsself gestel as 'n groep. So ons fokus is so half intern gekeer. Yes, ons kyk wat hulle doen en ons gaan nie na hulle kyk nie. En daar sal baie aandag gegee word aan die sielkundige kant van dit, as ek so kan sê, maar om seker te maak dat ons op daai vlak ook voorbereid is vir hulle. Maar ja, nee, ons het ons eie doelwitte, ons het ons eie goedjies wat ons moet regstel in ons game.
Faf, net vir jou om op hierdie tuisveld te staan en die haka te sien voor jou gebeur, praat met ons voor jou hart.
Ja, is nou nog redelik rustig. Nee, ek moet sê, dit gaan amazing wees. Dit is elke keer amazing om voor te staan. Gee my baie energie vir die wedstryd, so ek sien weer uit om dit te doen en die challenge wat hulle gaan neerlê. Ja, en ek het baie rugby gespeel. Ek is ongelooflik lief vir Nelspruit. Dis waar ek gebore is, waar ek groot geword het en ja, weer gaan baie mense wees agter my. Baie ou vriende wat ek al mee gepraat het en ek weet nie hoe ek by almal gaan uitkom nie, maar ons sal ons beste probeer. Maar ja, ek dink almal weet ook wat ons rol is hier, so ons is hier om 'n rugby wedstryd te wen en ja, met nou Nieu-Seeland is of enige ander span, ons wil die mense trots maak en ons wil ons spanmaats trots maak, so, maar ja, dit is vir my 'n ongelooflike voorreg om in hulle as weer te join.
So I can ask you one last English question. One of those questions that you don't have any control over, but I'm still going to ask you this question though. Can I ask you though, would you want South Africans to be behind you guys, specifically this weekend? I'm asking this question because this type of match has got a bit of a history, whether it's in Cape Town, whether it's in Port Tabega, whether it's up here in Nelspruit. Do you want South Africans to be solely behind the Springboks this coming weekend or so?
Yeah, I would like our supporters. to be. You know, we I think if you look at it, we've got lots of international supporters. So everybody who supports, I mean, I get mails from people in the US, mails of people who's in the Netherlands who supports us. You know, so yes, obviously we would love South Africa to support us and South Africans to support us, but that, like you rightly said, that's not under our control. But we would like to make every Springbok supporter and fan. We would like to make them proud. And like I say, there's a lot of Springbok fans and supporters who's not South African.